Folks, after 14 long days, 2 long weeks, never fear, On the Money podcast, On the Money Sports is here for a new edition of On the Money podcast, here live from the epicenter of Nostalgia Mania at the On the Money Sports Lounge in the Muniz Complex. The mega powers of podcasting return to you at one of the busiest times in the sports universe, with all 4 major sports happening at the same time. Everything is going on right now. Night 2 of the NBA going on right in front of us on the big screen. Live reaction to the Bucks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. We have a preview of a massive week 8, a week with no football teams on bye this week.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy to think about.
Why didn't you just wait one more week before you started doing buys then?
And then after week 10, the bye weeks start getting absolutely brutal. Maybe it's because they started it a week early with I think it was week 5 or week 6, where they started giving out the bye weeks. Waiver wire Wednesday.
Week 5 was the first week of bye weeks. So why didn't you just wait one more week if nobody's on bye this week?
I don't remember a time.
That's crazy. I don't ever remember a week 8 where there's no bye. Last 2 years, week 8 has been bye apocalypse.
Yeah. There's usually like 4 teams, and they can all score.
And you're just sitting there going, I can't drop these guys because then what do I do for the rest of the year?
But the league actually did us a favor because all the injuries and bodies on the floor in the NFL right now, it's good to know that all 32 teams are playing and all options are viable.
Is Brandon Ayuk available for me to put him on the IR in Kingpin's Dynasty? Because it still says out.
It should be available for
yesterday. It still said out. Come on, Commish, do your damn job.
He can't control that.
He
has to
the
say
settings
IR.
Beginning of the year could have been fixed.
IR, Mikey gets blamed for everything. You know what? Talk to him about it, because on top of everything going on, the boys on the Money Sports are going to be taking a trip to Pittsburgh this coming weekend for the showdown between or the mudhole stomping between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Football Giants. Let's go Celtics. Big win versus the Knickerbockers.
Yes,
Eric,
yes.
What up? What up? This is your time of year, my friend. Feel free to give us your NBA prediction tonight for the finals, because we haven't been able to get to that conversation with so much going on. Chris,
we're going to
do
it tonight, though.
I have my pick in mind. I figured I was going to come to the podcast with my pick. I've also got my start of the week. I've also got my week 8 on the money picks, which we didn't have. World Series week, baby. That's right. Game 1 this Friday. The Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the New York Yankees with Game 1 of the World Series. Garrett Cole versus Jack Flaherty. I mean, it gets no bigger than this. At a point in time when, it's the only month where we can say all 4 major sports are happening right now. Celtics running it back. That's Eric's prediction as of right now. The Boston Celtics getting another championship. They looked amazing yesterday. Just took the Knicks behind the woodshed, right? And, the Celtics came back around from the woodshed, and the Knicks did not.
Oh, you were still here?
The Knicks did not. It was just a lot of flies gathered around the back of the shed.
Screw the New York Knicks and screw OG. I needed just 2 threes, bruh. 2 threes.
That's right.
I'm $40 richer off for $5. You know what? I'll never bet on a New York Knicks again, because every time I bet something with the Knicks, it never pans out.
Is it because you badmouth them, maybe?
I think that's what it is.
It's because you badmouth them?
It's like when I badmouth the Ravens, and then I need Derrick Henry to get that second touchdown this past Monday, even though he broke loose like 3 or 4 different times, and he fell flat too. So he said,
cool.
You're $81? You ain't getting a second touchdown off of me.
You lost the bet. The Bucks lost the game and their 2 top wide receivers in the Monday night doubleheader.
To talk about that right off the bat,
NBA
Mike Evans, after he caught that touchdown, should have left the game.
Knicks have a new team.
That's completely on Todd Bowles. Mike Evans should have left the game after that touchdown, where there was clear discomfort. It was clear that he rushed back early. You know what? You got him his 100th touchdown catch. He should have went back to the bench. But now you went him back out there, and the only reason he didn't grab that second touchdown is because his hammy. Because he had it in his hand, and then you see like he gets hit in the leg, and he just stops concentrating to grab it.
In a
He
year
goes
where
down.
all my wide receivers are going down.
Secondly, everybody's mad at Todd Bowles for having his starters still in, down 10 and 40 seconds ago. Guess what? Every single team does it. So you can't be mad at Todd Bowles. Every team does it, whether you like it or you don't. Learn to love it. It's very rare coaches just pull their guys because sometimes they leave them in there in mop-up duty because those are stat padding sections.
Oakron needs to be fined for that tackle. Nick's second best in the East.
It was a gruesome injury,
like
which
it, but I
sucks
respect
because
it.
if you read his lips, it looked like he said, "My career's done." When he's on the cart.
It was a two-parter because first there was Mike Evans limping on the sidelines after he scored the first one. And for me, somebody who needed Mike Evans in a big doubleheader Monday night where a lot of leagues were still up for grabs with so many star players on 4 rosters, you see him limping on the sidelines and you're just like, ugh. And then the actual injury is where, hindsight kicks in and everybody's saying, how can you let him back in the game?
But go look at all the games.
But what are you supposed to do in a competitive game where this means the world to Tampa Bay going into a matchup with Atlanta now for the division?
These guys practice all week, and now you're going to tell them go sit down?
And the Bucs look great at first.
And you don't know what – and here's the other thing. We don't know what contracts look like. What if there's incentive base? Maybe he's out there because he needs to get X amount of catches. X amount of yards.
Yeah, they're trying to hit parlays too. It's not just us. They're hitting real life parlays.
Yeah.
Going out and getting the yards themselves.
Your fantasy team means nothing to them.
Well, Mike Evans means a lot to my fantasy team. And now I am without him for in 2 leagues until week 12.
Listen, RJ, I thought I was gonna do it. I'm sitting there just biting my fingernail, and I was like, oh my goodness, am I gonna make this historic comeback?
That Rashad Bateman catch was crazy. Like, he's standing in the middle of the field all by himself.
As much as I wanted Bateman to get that first touchdown, that big play, and where they stopped him like 15 yards short, as much as I wanted him to get that, there was a part of me going, stop. Because in another league,
somebody stop him.
In another league, I'm playing my nephew who has Lamar Jackson, and we're just going back and forth.
What up, Paul?
We're going back and forth because I got Baker, he's got he's got Lamar. We're just going back and forth. Yeah. It's going tit for tat, tit for tat.
You made the comeback in All the Money Sports.
Yes, I beat him 177 to 175.
He said he went to bed. He woke up and you see the text message, you won? He completely sold it because he thought it was in the bag, or maybe he just didn't want to actually watch it while it was happening. But it's one of those things where in fantasy, you're going against some of your own guys and you just got to pick your battles. Like, where does it mean more to you? What league do you need to win more in?
I needed to win more in On the Money Sports than I needed to win in Sick Picks, because in Sick Picks, I have the 7th seed. And as of right now, I got a 3-game lead on 9, 10, 11, 12.
In what league?
In Sick Picks. Sick Picks, everybody's 2 and 5. I'm 4 and 3. I got a 2-game lead on them.
I beat Terrell this week in Sick Picks. And right now, when it comes to Sick Picks, when it comes to All the Money Sports, True Legends, it's super competitive.
True Legends,
all the records are
True Legends. I lost by 2 points. No, 3 points.
Yeah, Mikey got me in True Legends. Mikey's actually been beating
it's my fault.
Everywhere.
I lost in my fault is for in Sick Picks. My fault is for not starting the Denver defense. And you could say also in Sick Picks, I started Matt Stafford 5.98.
Gross, bro.
And in True Legends, he gave me 16 points. And had I just started Russell Wilson, I would have obliterated Cito because Russell Wilson had 40 points.
I should have started Josh Allen. It was 2 weeks in a row where I was benching Allen for Cousins.
I'm sorry. I love Matt Stafford.
I'll never do that again.
If Cooper Kupp ain't playing tomorrow, Matt's getting benched, and the hot tag, it's going to be Russell Wilson, Jared Goff.
He's,
in True Legends.
Say what? That you beat me in pretty much all the leagues so far in the regular season. I'm not afraid to admit it. You've gotten the best of me,
bro. But don't win all these games and have that collapse.
Well, I mean, all that matters is 2-0, which is my record against Mikey in fantasy playoffs. That's all that matters. And every time I beat Mikey in the fantasy playoffs, I win a championship. So,
hey, Matt, since you're watching, how do you feel about your Neighbors the Hill trade?
oh, man. Coming in hot tonight, folks, for On the Money Podcast.
I just need to know.
We're not waiting.
I don't know what you were thinking.
Tua's coming back, so that means Tyreek Hill's back.
Alex tells me in the morning, Friday morning, goes, he accepted this. And I
What's
looked
up, Matt?
and I went,
what's going on, buddy?
what?
RJ
I was
saying,
like, does Matt know that Tua's coming back next week? And what did Tua tell us today? Hey, guys, if you stuck with me, get ready. The band is back.
What up, Sean? RJ saying longest yard, pretty much a toss-up league this year. And in League of Boom, he won by 0.8 points in their matchup this past week. Started Andy Dalton and Kingpins.
Still a good trade.
Well, Neighbors
It's not
still a good player.
You realize, Matt, it was sick picks, not dynasty, right?
It's on Neighbors to perform, though, for it to continue to be a good trade. Like, Neighbors still has to go out there and have one of those games like he had a couple weeks ago. You know,
who the hell's Riley Reed?
I don't know.
Wow, I'm out of touch, boys. I'm showing my age.
Oh, what? She wants our content off the web? Oh, she might be a performer. Sounds like my guess.
I guess there was a leak, huh?
He will.
Yeah,
perform.
Robert Saleh is with his boy Matt LaFleur.
Saleh hired by Green Bay. You got a D-Hop trade today after the Adams and Cooper trades.
Yes,
last week.
RJ, I'm 41 years old. My life consists of my family, my job, this podcast, and fantasy sports.
35. I don't know who Riley Reid is. I'm not sure what she does. I know Liv Morgan.
And doing my best to live up to God.
Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. Like, I know them.
I'm 41. What do you want from me? Look.
So, yeah, man. Like, trades happened. Hirings happened. Injuries happened. Week 8 is about to happen. A waiver wire.
If the girl is like 20, 21, that's the age of my daughter. So, no.
I got a notification that Tyrese Halliburton is right now 2 for 10 with 2 turnovers at halftime. Oof. So the Pacers are at a pace right now in a matchup against
Down
Detroit.
by 9.
You know, yesterday was the grand opening of the NBA, but we all know that during that grand opening, they only have a 2-game slate.
She's older than you.
Tonight is, where all of us play. Tonight is a full slate of NBA action. I believe it's 10 to 12 games of action. Right now, we're watching the Sixers and the Bucks go at it, it's nice when baseball is on a little bit of break to the World Series, the break between, Sundays and Mondays after the doubleheader of the NFL action. Tomorrow we have
they try to get us to buy ESPN Plus for that game.
I have ESPN Plus.
I cut my ESPN Plus.
It wasn't a great game. It wasn't the worst game.
Oof.
What the cool thing about it was, both quarterbacks going in those 2 matchups, Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, helped me get a Monday Night Miracle against Netta in East Coast Champs. She was 5-1. I was 2-4. I was on the verge of going 2-5.
Netta's just silent.
Yeah, but you
see her
puts
draft
together
day,
good teams.
Puts her lineups together.
Yeah, she makes the playoffs, and then she makes the playoffs, and
the unspeakables.
Yeah, you either beat her or she gets the best of you, and she finds herself in a couple championships. She's a pro at what she does. But I always look forward to seeing her on draft day. I know that's probably the only time I'm going to see her besides like a random cameo at the Bees. That's really it. But nonetheless, I was able to get a victory over the 1 seed in that league and breathe some life into my team. I knocked that off, that 5-0 start. And look at that. He beat Netta in a league where she was 5-0 in another spot. So
that must be sick picks.
I feel like
because I think she's got a losing record in one of those leagues.
It's in Sick Picks is her worst team.
Okay, then it's got to be Kingpins.
I'm playing her in Sick Picks this week. District 12 going up against Ms. ESPN. Sick Picks matchup. Sick Picks league right now, super competitive. You talked about your 4-3. Well, as of right now, there are 4 of us who have the record of 4-3.
The last ride.
And then you have Ant, shout out to you, bro, sitting at the top of the league at 6-1, followed by Mike D with 5-2 on a 3-game winning streak. And then RJ, who's in 3rd place at 5-2 in Sick Picks. And then the rest of us are separated
Mikey,
by a game.
Bringing up the Finer Things Club.
And Mikey with the undefeated streak in the Finer Things, bro. Like, I beat up on the 8 seed this week, so, I can't brag too much. His team is in total shambles. All his quarterbacks are just He lost everything. Like, he lost everything in a short amount of time. So I sent them a trade just to see, just to check the waters. No, it's sitting there.
It means he hasn't looked at it, or he's just looking at it.
Yeah, it's a trade for something that he desperately needs. So hopefully he takes the time to look it over. But it's been back and forth for me in the Finer Things Club. I'm going up against you this week in that league. I'm 4-3 in that league as well.
2 in a row, baby.
Only 4 playoff spots in that league. So, the losses, we talk about them. In that league, the losses hurt. Chris was a victim of Mikey's hot streak right now of 7-0. He's cruising for the 1 seed. And
I think the only person that gave Mikey a fight was Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden's team is good, though.
Not this week, because he had all them damn injuries. He goes, what am I supposed to do? Drop Jonathan Taylor? Drop Travis Etienne?
I mean, Jonathan Taylor, for the last 3 weeks, has been a no-show, and yet I still hold on to the hope that even in a tough matchup this week, he's going to be able to make the start, make the game, and not it be another situation of me having to put him on the IR spot.
Nico, Puka, CMC, Ayuk, and Godwin. He won draft day, but he hasn't won the league.
This guy that's too many injuries to overcome,
I mean, in sick picks, look what I'm dealing with.
Like, and those are like no comeback injuries, a lot of them. Like, I don't know if CMC's coming back. Ayuk's not coming back. Godwin's not coming back. Who knows when Nico and Puka has the best shot of returning before any of them. And then everybody else, it's one of those things.
Like, I got Nico and Puka in sick picks. My wide receivers are trash. Hopefully, with Tua coming back, Jalen Waddle's stock goes up. Jaden Reed has severely underperformed so far this year. Rashad Bateman was a last-minute option that I took off the waiver wire, threw in there. But you know what? I noticed when we were last together, the Bengals-Ravens game, that he was starting to throw to Bateman more.
He's doing what people thought Zay Flowers was going to do.
He's starting to throw to Bateman a lot more than what we thought.
Yeah.
So I said,
is he the wide receiver one,
I think his teams are focusing so heavily on Zay Flowers that Mark Andrews is coming back. Now Rashad Bateman
2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns.
This offense is prolific right now.
Ravens are good.
I'm not going to sit here and say
Ravens are good.
They're not good.
I think we got a lot of answers to questions that we were asking in the preseason, and now the answer is solidified. The Baltimore Ravens are a good football team.
Derrick Henry staying healthy.
Oh.
And it's about Lamar Jackson staying healthy.
Oh, boy. Rashad Bateman.
Bateman's healthy, bro.
Dog.
Mikey, how many targets has Zay Flowers gotten in the last 2 weeks?
Mikey has a bad habit of protecting his boys in these instances.
Yeah.
Listen, he has a
I am a Steelers fan, and I'm telling you, they've been locking down Flowers for 2 weeks now.
So what I'm saying
You're right, Mike, but guess who's eating?
What I'm saying is
Rashad Bateman's eating, dog.
Rashad Bateman is putting up the better numbers than Zay Flowers. That's what I'm saying. So as of right now, Zay Flowers is the wide receiver 1 by name, but the guy who's like making the plays is Rashad Bateman. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm posing the question. That's all I'm doing right now.
Bateman is doing what we thought he should have been doing the last couple of years. He just wasn't healthy.
Bateman's doing what people thought Zay Flowers was going to do for them. And is Zay Flowers winning you guys any games? I mean, doubt it.
At this moment, teams would rather let Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews beat them instead of Zay Flower going over the top.
Either way,
Mark Andrews is back. He is helping me in Dynasty. He almost helped me beat RJ when I was down like 70-something points. That was another game that I lost. I lost the sick picks game down. I was down by like 70. I lost that by 5. I was down.
Well, you know what, Mikey? Good for you, bro. What are you, his lawyer? All of a sudden, you want to argue just because the Giants suck, all right? Miss me with the BS, all right? All I'm saying is Flowers and Bateman both take a back seat to Derrick Henry in that offense.
Thank you, Chris.
Zay may be wide receiver 1, but numbers last few weeks is not. He's my wide receiver 1 in my fantasy league and didn't put much up the last few weeks. But when you're a fanatic of his, you'll take whatever you can get. That's I guess.
I'm just saying Zay Flowers is beasting right now. I mean, not Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman.
Because Flowers' numbers don't look good in fantasy doesn't mean he's not the wide receiver 1. Well, put up wide receiver 1 numbers. How about that? How about that for a new challenge for Zay Flowers? Put up wide receiver 1 numbers. You know? Because Mark Andrews came through with 2 tutties. Bateman came through with a huge play. The offense really stomped the mud hole in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past week on Monday night. And Derrick Henry is once again matchup proof. Got Bateman in Dynasty. Come on and get him. Alex, the trade talks trickling into the podcast comment section. He's putting everybody on the block. He put Rachaad White on the block, another player who, after these injuries, his value just went up. And we saw, like,
I have Baker Mayfield in 2 leagues.
I have him in 1.
And now I'm like, shit.
Oh, put up wide receiver 1 numbers, bro. We're not going to spend the whole podcast focused on Flowers, bro. We get it.
We're not. We're done.
You love him, bro.
How's Keon Coleman doing?
You love him. Keon Coleman is a dud, all right?
How's Keon Coleman doing, Mike?
He's a dud. But, I mean, Alex's whole team is on the trade block. Everyone has a price. Yeah, you're right about that. I'm sorry. But, all I'm saying is Zay Flowers hasn't been all he's cracked up to be for fantasy this year.
Mayfield, Riley,
so
read me this
you can say that it's the coverage that is being put on him, but great receivers break through coverage eventually, right? So eventually Zay Flowers, if he's wide receiver 1, is going to figure it out, right? And he's going to put up numbers. Like,
how many weeks did it take,
is he in your wide receiver 1 spot, or is he in your flex spot? Answer me that. Like, is he starting in your wide receiver 1 spot? Mayfield, Riley Reed, me the past week to go full circle from before 3-4 now.
I need Bake, man. I need Bake.
Well, Baker needs receiving options.
At least we know Mike Evans is going to be back in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? He's going to be back.
Their bye week is week 11, so they don't play that
in 3. He's got 3 games without him,
which is why they didn't put him on.
If
IR.
they put him on IR, he would have had to miss the game after the bye.
So they didn't put him on IR because they have that bye week, and so now week 12. But like with Tua, like with Tua, you managed to go 4-3 without him, and now you're getting him back. So it's one of those questions of, can you survive?
I won 3 in a row on All the Money Sports. I was 1-3.
Yeah,
I'm 4-3. I'm back in it. I get Tua back. My Tua to Hill stack is there. I got I'm now my draft day selections are starting to look good, bro. Hill and Chase back to back. Yep. Oh, it's gonna look great.
When it comes to these injuries, a lot of people have been trying to survive until they can get their key players back. So maybe 3-4, 4-3 is not the worst place in the world to be at, with so many different names finally coming back.
I'm trying to get to first place so I could get that 1 seed. Me and Mikey to lose some games.
Yeah, Mikey's definitely pissed off because the Knicks got their ass beat and the Giants are trash. Don't take it out on me, buddy, all right? Which one of y'all had Saquon Barkley? I need to know if he's washed or not. Asking for a friend. You got Mikey, you got anything to say about Saquon Barkley since you got all the answers tonight?
170.
Is he the running back 1? Who's the running back 1 for the Giants? Give me that answer.
Tyrell Tracy.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He is. He really is. The guy that I had on my taxi squad that I traded for Tank Bixby, which all of a sudden is a pretty solid deal. Yeah. Like, 2 months later.
Do you think ETN gets moved before the deadline?
I don't know. I think they rock with him. I think London gave the team a little bit of spirit.
Option on him.
I think London gave them a little bit of a, like they came out of it like, yeah, like we got to win.
On for all this New York slander. I just want to know, because I remember on this podcast,
go Celtics and go
I remember
Eagles.
In my text messages, I remember all it was going to cost is an extra $4 or $5 million to get Barkley to stay.
The Titans are trash too.
Well, I was told you don't spend money on a running back. Well, Philly's looking pretty smart spending the money. How'd it go the other day?
I don't need to defend my football team.
Kudos to him. Nick Sirianni's clown ass, who's still a clown in my eyes, went to him and asked him, "Hey, you're 14 yards away from your career high. I would really like to get it for you.
Yeah.
Do you want it?" My man said, "Nah, let the young boys go." So kudos to him.
That's after he ran all over the team and broke their spirit.
107
and had the most yards that he's had at that stadium his entire career, playing in that stadium, having played there with that team his entire career, in front of the owner that said they were going to have countless sleepless nights if he were to ever become a Philadelphia Eagle, and the doofus GM that let him walk across the pond to the rival team who is now 4-2. So I get why there's a lot of attitude and a lot of chippiness coming from
Philly
the comment
fans,
section.
Spoiler alert, I'm going for you this Sunday. Let's go. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm not. And yeah, that's a funny comment from Chris saying that I'm the wide receiver one for the Tennessee Titans when you just traded for a wide receiver one and you got your asses busted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you let me know who the wide receiver one in New York is, funny guy, because as of right now, you guys have one more win than we do. Only New York team I'm focused on this week is the Yankees. Hey, good, because none of the other New York teams are going to bring you anything that you want besides the Yankees.
Anytime a team plays an AFC North opponent, I am going to root for that team.
You're going for the Birds?
It's just simple. And I'm going for the Birds this weekend. Just like I'll go for the Birds when they play the
Ravens. He's on a roll, dog. And if you think the Celtics is going to shoot 59% from three after taking 93 threes, then you got another thing coming. Bro, they were trying to put the Knicks to bed with all the threes they were shooting.
He was done with the Giants when he declined the same offer he got from the Eagles. Here we go about that offer.
They're going to defend it until the grave, bro. Mm-hmm. They're going to defend it. That's one thing. The Giants fans are willing to argue about certain topics for 7 years. Giants fans will argue with you about something for 8 years straight. No matter what. No matter what it is. Like just don't flap your wings. This guy. So you're pro Eagles this week. And actually, it's a huge matchup. Look at both teams are the same team right now. These two teams are the same team.
One team's 4-2, the other's 3-4.
Right. But they're both trying to get their – because I'm sorry, yes, the Eagles are 4-2. You just beat the Browns and the Giants, okay? You beat two of the worst teams and worst offenses in football.
So, what was the final score of that game? For real, I don't know.
28-3? Eagles-Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah, 28-3. Eagles beat the Browns and they beat the Giants.
I picked the Giants on my football pool because I thought they were going to do the upset of the week. And thanks to the Giants not winning that game, and thanks to the Texans for not winning, I didn't win the football pool. Because if those two teams had won, your boy right here won.
Texans-Packers was a
$200 would have been in my pocket. But thanks a lot, guys.
Texans-Packers was a wild one, for sure.
Bro, 84 passing yards? What the hell was that?
You had the pregame shenanigans.
Meanwhile,
from
Joe Mixon was
Diggs.
just going.
And you know, warning to Houston, Stephon is starting to go off the deep end. Like it's starting to happen. Like it's something that tick. Like he's starting to get that look in his eyes. So just be careful. You're already down a wide receiver. You know, and
you're right.
You know what's crazy?
You're absolutely right, Paul.
You know what's crazy?
You always bet on red.
Like I feel like the Texans got punked this past week because there was a point in time where Stroud was in the opposition's territory. He went out of bounds in the Packers side of the field, and you got the Packers surrounding him, talking his shit. Like, where's the offensive line in that moment? Like, that's a young quarterback. Like, come get your guy. Like,
former Pittsburgh Steeler Trey Essex was talking about that, like in a tweet. He was like, "Where's the line?"
How do you let that happen?
His quote was, "If that was Ben, we would have been all up in that person's shit."
It's little things like that, but it makes a big difference because, like, you look at the scuffle, the Elmo scuffle that happened prior to the game. Mm-hmm. There's no other Texans by Diggs. It's just the staff trying to pull him away. There's no other Texans, none of the big guys. Where are the tough guys of this team?
Somebody said, because they were listening, I was to Pittsburgh radio too.
The entire Packers
group
was
Crowley
circling around
was talking about it, and Crowley was like, he was like, "Do you think Marquise Pouncey would allow someone to do that to Ben Roethlisberger?"
Bro, it's little stuff, but it's actually big.
Do you think Jason Kelsey would allow someone to have done that to Jalen Hurts? Like, come on, man. What are we doing here?
Like, the entire Packers organization was walking towards Stephon Diggs.
And
the Texans are on this. What are you guys doing? You're on the sidelines just watching this? Like, and then to come off the field with the epic field goal kick to win the game.
Their wide receiver one's injured, but dude, they still got Tank Dell,
and Stephon
who did a disappearing act.
Tank Dell had
and Stephon Diggs.
Are you mentally checked out because this other team is like talking smack to you and
gotta defend the cute? Listen, there's one player on the team you defend no matter what, no matter how shit he is, no matter how bad he's playing, no matter how many turnovers, you defend the quarterback.
Second-year guy. He's a kid, bro. Like, he needs it. He needs that right now because you're jarring his confidence. He hasn't been lights out last 2 weeks.
Nope.
Let's be real, man.
Listen, Nico covers a lot of warts.
Yeah, but the warts kind of came off this past week they could have won that game, and that's all in part to Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon carried that offense. Joe Mixon is the spark plug that makes the Houston Texans offense go around. Nico Collins, let me fix it before Mikey starts freaking out on me. I don't give his boy props. Nico Collins is the wide receiver one, most talented offensive piece on the Texans. Best player on the team. But Joe Mixon is what's moving the football down the field for the Houston Texans right now, and why they were in position to win that game up until the last-minute field goal kicked by the Green Bay Packers.
Where is it at? I can pull it up.
But yeah, bro, like the fact nobody came in and stepped in for Stroud, that just I saw that and I was like, damn, like that doesn't look good. Diggs going up against the entire football team by himself, that doesn't look good. Like you need more tough guys.
This was Nico Collins' fantasy production and sick picks. I'm going to go week by week. Week 1, 23.7. Week 2, 31.5. Week 3, 12.6. Week 4, 37.10. Week 5, 26.8. That's the production you're missing right now. And Stephon Diggs isn't taking advantage of it.
And the passing game is meh. You know, it's not lights out right now. It's just not. And it's in big part because, you know, one of Mikey's takes from the preseason of Nico being wide receiver one, like he's right. He is the wide receiver one there. And without him, it shows. You know, the coverage definitely worked on Tank Dell. And we know that the secondary of the Packers is Jair Alexander. Like they're talented.
I believe Nico was wide receiver one. I was of the belief that I thought Stephon Diggs was probably wide receiver 3. And people thought I was crazy. Right now, he's kind of looking wide receiver 2 because the guy who I thought was going to be wide receiver 2 in Tank Dell is just like, is he even playing football?
I thought it was going to be a game of hot potato, me personally. I thought that each week, one of the wide receivers was going to step up and be that guy. It was definitely Nico after that game where he got, what, 12 catches or something, I think
Diggs has 55 targets, 42 catches, 415 yards.
Okay.
When Nico's now missed 2 full games. Before Nico missed time, he already had 32 catches on 45 targets for 567 yards and 3 tugs.
Yeah, his pace was crazy.
Tank Dell only has 20 catches for 194 yards and a touchdown in 7 weeks of play.
Nico makes Stroud more dangerous. With Nico out there, C.J. Stroud can be the C.J. Stroud that we're accustomed to seeing from last year, who took the league and, you know, Texans kind of look spineless.
Stroud's actually thrown more interceptions this season than he did last year.
Paul, other football teams are seeing that shit. And before you go to war on the field, you want every advantage psychologically over the other team. So even in the tunnel, the shit talking begins. You know what I mean? Like just looking into Ray Lewis said it best. Just looking into an opponent's eyes and knowing I had their heart. Like
this is why we need a third person on the podcast, so
for the stats.
Just look up stats, so I don't have to do it. What
do their drops look like? I personally think Stroud is having a sophomore slump situation going on. Sophomore slump, a situation where there's film on his tendencies and what he does, what he likes to do, his pivots, where he likes to turn. You know, there's a whole year worth of film to study as far as CJ Stroud and how to more or less contain the offense to the best of your abilities if you have, you know, the defensive players to do it. If you're a bad team, the Houston Texans are going to walk all over you. The Green Bay Packers are not a bad team, so the Texans weren't going to be able to walk all over Green Bay, especially.
It looks like Jordan Love is starting to round in the shape. Yeah. But Jordan Love is slowly starting to remind me of Brett Favre, boy.
Yeah, he's in the right place for it, right? You know, like you're in a place where
Diggs has 3 drops, Tank Dell has 3 drops, and Nico only had 1 drop.
Has Dell been like a disappointment so far? He had what, 1 good game, Tank Dell? Has he been kind of like
Tank Dell? Let's see, look up his stats real quick. I can tell you right now.
I feel like Diggs has performed better on a consistent basis, and without Nico Collins, Joe Mixon is the best offensive piece of that football team because Joe Mixon is getting that work. They want to run the ball and play defense.
Tank Dell's best game came against the loss in Minnesota, where he had 5 catches for 62 yards.
Yeah, so I didn't draft Tank Dell anywhere, so like it's harder for me to track what he's done week in, week out. I just know like this past week, I bet him for an anytime touchdown, and he had 0 points. So to be able to go a whole game and get 0 is nasty work. That means that the other side shut you down.
Remember his rookie season, he only had 11 games because he had the injury.
Yep.
And those 11 games, he had already had 700 yards.
And I think that we judged him primarily on the boom games that he had while he was there. We haven't seen a full season of Tank Dell. And we kind of, we take the good and we run with it at times, especially when the good looks great like that. But now in a situation where you add Stephon Diggs into the mix, I don't believe the sophomore slump really exists. I think it's often due to the head coach and offensive coordinator issues, either complacency by the coaches and the play calling, or sometimes it's a removal or installation of a new system because of hiring, which makes a QB seem like they are regressing when they really don't have a stable system. I mean, valid point there. I also think a big part of it is
you got a year of film now.
Yeah, that's what I think is a big part of the situation as far as Stroud and the numbers that aren't as eye-popping. They're eye-popping in a different direction because you're just like, damn, like this is kind of rough. Not what I was bargaining for when I went up and reached for this player. That's gross, Miguel. I traded Adams and a 2026 first for Tank Dell. That was that day that you were making all those trades. Some good and some good and some shit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, looking back on that one.
Bro, you don't got a 2025 first round pick either. So he has no first round picks for the next 2 seasons in
Dynasty. The only Dynasty League, the true Dynasty League, Kingpin's Dynasty, where I just got my first victory of the season.
Because a bunch of cats just couldn't shut up, play their lineup. If you get an easy win, oh well.
Well,
who gives a shit?
No need to worry about that. As long
as the check's clear, that's all that matters, man. If somebody wants to tank year one, let them.
There's no rule against it.
It's a year-by-year league. It's not a redraft league. If it's a redraft league, like, hell yeah, bro. Like, yo, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
But if it's a dynasty league where it's year-by-year,
real
teams do it.
Don't disrupt the
real teams do it.
Don't disrupt the build.
Because a bunch of y'all had your tampons on. That's what happened.
Yep.
Thank God I wasn't part of that league. Because I would have been no good. I might have caused a lot of personal trauma in there.
One less league to stress about.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Because at that point in time, that's all it was becoming, was just a stress. And now we have the league that we started this year. It's crazy how...
Oh, man, I'm going to play a guy that has no good lineup. I win this week, you dumbasses. Everybody's going to get to face the same guy in the season, so everybody's going to get a dub. Yeah, what does it matter?
You don't control the strategies across the board.
As long as the league fee got paid, who gives a rat's ass, in the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Well, that just shows a lot of people's inexperience.
The only people who care are ones who just want to whine for the fun of it.
That shows the lack of experience in dynasty settings. Like, that's it.
I was just about to say something, but I had to stop because I don't want this podcast to get political. I don't want anybody talking about candidates. But I was just about to reference something, so I'm going to chill.
Yeah, leave it. Make another podcast about it. Do a 30-minute rant. Put it on Facebook.
Cats like that are the reason why participation trophies awards exist now.
I love when people pay their dues and don't participate. Well, I might have the worst record in our Dynasty League, but I ain't tanking. I'm looking to turn the tables. I'm looking to go on a win streak. And unfortunately, the Wolfpack is in the way of that streak, so I'm going to have to go through you to go to 2-6 in a big showdown. You're 3-4. I'm 1-6. I'm getting DJ Moore back this week, who coincidentally, DJ Moore, I'm just going to put it out there right now, is my start of the week. DJ Moore up against the Washington Commanders secondary that I think he is going to be able to feast upon because, yes, Caleb Williams has a lot of stuff to figure out still, but he has figured out how to get DJ Moore the ball, and he's figured out how to get DJ Moore the ball in the end zone, and it's paying off huge dividends. And I think he's going to be able to do some more of that this week when the Chicago Bears take on the Washington Commanders in what is a huge football game, 5-2 versus 4-2. Jaden Daniels did not practice today. Of course, we all know about his injury this past week. We also know about Marcus Mariota going out there
and balling.
Just balling with the Washington Commanders went out there and dropped 40. They are
still kind of like the Mariota that one year where he was a monster for Tennessee,
and they are still.
Tennessee was almost in playoff contention.
Well, 9-7,
but he broke his ankle, and y'all finished 9-7.
9-7 and missed the playoffs.
Because before he broke his ankle, you were
it was his best statistical year.
Yeah, y'all would have beaten the Colts the following week with Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, we did not.
I really, truthfully, honestly believe that.
I can't as much shit as I had Caleb. He's been actually looking decent.
Yeah, so far I owe him an apology.
It's an honest conversation to start having. If you do fantasy football and you have Caleb Williams and you look at the numbers he's putting up compared to, other starting quarterbacks that were getting a lot more hype than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is out there helping win people weeks. He went out there and had a good London matchup, a bye week to, get their shit together, and now they're going into this matchup 4-2.
The benefits of that is Rome Odunze.
Well, I mean,
it's been all DJ Moore.
Rome's had like
Keenan Allen's old ass.
Like Rome has had one boom week where he had like 30-something points, right?
Yep.
And
the Colts game.
You're saying to yourself, like, in fairness, he's done what Tank Dell has done. He gave you 1 week where it's just like, this is why I drafted you. Other than that, it's a lot of dropping and adding, because I picked him up off waivers this week because I'm still in the belief of if they could just figure out the kinks, he's next as far as getting some of these looks.
I feel like right now Caleb is just really comfortable with DJ and Keenan Allen.
And
he's actually starting to get comfortable with Cole
Kmet.
Cole
Kmet's balling.
Who I still kept in one league.
DeAndre Swift.
But got rid of in another league.
DeAndre Swift is balling.
And somebody swooped in and took him in the other league.
Chicago Bears, top 5 defense right now.
Yeah.
Like, top 5, that helps. That helps everything. That helps a young quarterback a long way when your defense can hold down the other team and get you the football back and give you more opportunities to work out a play or work out an overthrow. Like, the Bears wide receivers are beating the quarterbacks every week. Caleb missed on a lot of throws where if he makes some of them, it's the difference between being 4-2 and 5-1.
DJ Moore, man.
Like, they are burning corners. Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, they're burning cornerbacks on either side, and Caleb just wasn't able to connect.
Hey, Bears, if y'all don't want DJ Moore, you want to get out of that contract. Steelers need a wide receiver. Wide receiver, too.
I don't think they would want to get out of that contract now.
They're not. Because Keenan Allen's going to be gone after this year, so you still have DJ Moore, and you'll have Rome Odunze move up to wide receiver too.
In NFL years, DJ Moore is still relatively young.
Oh yes,
DJ
Moore is a great ball player.
He gets it, bro. Like, he gets it. He's a less injury prone Tyler Lockett. Like, the healthiest version of Tyler Lockett is what DJ Moore is, and what can be for an
fire up Tyler Lockett the next couple weeks with the MCL injury to DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that's going to be multiple weeks, it's looking like.
Yeah.
And that's big for the Commanders.
And I'll tell you what, didn't stop Geno from still throwing like crazy after DK left.
Hey.
Because that just means it's JSN, Tyler Lockett, and
Kenneth Walker.
Jake Bobo.
Oh, the spicy picks. Yeah, it's Waiver Wire Wednesday, so if you missed out on the priority waivers, you're looking and skimming through what's left and seeing who's out there, seeing who, did their thing last week. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple leagues where I picked up Will Dissly. I saw what he did on Monday night, and I said to myself, like, yo, are you Justin Herbert's, like, second favorite target or something? Or what's going on with these guys?
I talk about the Steelers' wide receiver room being one of the weakest in the NFL. The Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver room may be the worst wide receiver room. Listen,
we thought this was going to work. I mean, it is, though, with coaching and defense. Like, the Chargers play kind of a dull brand of football. This was the first week where we saw Herbert really throw the ball.
Yeah.
So it's showing, like, okay, this is a
J.K. Dobbins needs him to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Because teams are starting to buy. And to Dobbins' credit, he's still getting yardage.
Like, Cardinals' defense looked good for a while this past Monday, which was weird.
That defenseless receiver hit was horrifically called.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Lab McConkey.
At this point, Marvin Harrison himself, he's not even startable.
He stunk. Marvin Harrison stunk. McConkey was better than Harrison, and McConkey wasn't even impressive. Will Dissly did his thing. There's some other guy who I never heard of that Herbert kept throwing the ball to. I can't even remember his name right now. Josh Palmer made a cameo, and I never got my J.K. Dobbins touchdown, which would have won me a 3-leg parlay. I had Mike Evans, Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins.
I had J.K. Dobbins, Vitalata, the backup running back, Derrick Henry, and Mike Evans. I got 2 out of the 4.
Should have just bet on Mark Andrews.
Andrews to start.
He had 2. Commanders' problem will be their defense. Their defense looked good against a bad team.
That's what we got to keep in perspective, too. They did what they were supposed to do against the bad team. And this week, that bad team has to start Bryce Young because Andy Dalton was in a car accident yesterday, and it looks like he's not going to be able to play this weekend.
I don't think we can measure how good the Washington defense is right now because a lot of people don't believe in the Chicago Bears. So if the Commanders' defense looks good against the Bears, it's not going to make anybody more of a believer in the Commanders' defense. If they have a light schedule, their defense is going to look good. I am still of the belief, and I mentioned it before, like I think the Commanders did a decent job against the Ravens. It could have gone a lot worse, and they lost by a touchdown. Ravens scored 30. We see what the Ravens are doing to football teams on a weekly basis right now. And I feel as though the Commanders at least hung in there in that matchup where they did lose to Baltimore.
-1. And he played the whole game?
Andy Dalton, with his situation, the crazy car accident, the underperforming, RIP Deontay Johnson fantasy value.
He's probably going to get traded within the next 2 weeks, they said.
I hope. That's the glimmer of hope that I have for Deontay because
the 49ers are interested in him.
I can't trade him, and I'm not about to start him in a matchup against the Denver Broncos.
Whoever gets him, he's on the last year of his deal.
He's on my bench right now.
And
he's on my bench until he gets traded. You got to get out of town.
You'll probably get a 3rd round. You'll probably get him for a 4th or a 5th.
You're bringing Bryce Young back into the fold. RIP Deontay Johnson fantasy value until you get out of Carolina.
Hey, Deontay, is the grass greener on the other side?
I mean, it ain't his fault.
Just wondering, because you wanted to leave so bad.
He wanted to explore. He wanted to see what was out there. He went to an organization that is just not run correctly. Carolina, they're a disaster. They're the Carolina Giants right now, as far as like all the things wrong with them and the things they need to fix. And a quarterback who they anoint as the next guy that might not be the next guy. So you have to figure out if he's the next guy before it's money time and you make the same mistake that one of the teams did and pay the guy as he's the next trade him.
You're not going to get much for him. That's the problem.
Doll him up enough to where you can sell him high and just get out of that. Just get out of that situation. Get yourself out of that situation and just move forward. Try not to fleece yourself again like you did with the Chicago Bears. That's what the Carolina Panthers have to do right now. Just don't fleece yourself. Continue sucking, and we'll see if Bryce comes back better. Unfortunately,
you just had to do it, Elon.
Unfortunately, Bryce Young is going up against the best defense in football right now in the Denver Broncos. So not the week to figure out if he's the guy or not. I think that the Denver Broncos.
Is Bo Nix starting this week in fantasy leagues?
I'm starting him. I just dropped Dak Prescott for Bo Nix in the league. I'm starting Bo Nix this week over Dak.
That's crazy because I think the Cowboys are still going to lose to the 49ers.
Dak has 2 more fantasy points right now than Bo Nix in that league. So, because I did it just in case Jaden Daniels doesn't play this week. If I can't use Jaden Daniels, I'm going to rock with Bo Nix because he's not bad and he's running with the football too. And in a matchup against the Carolina Panthers, I could see a future where Bo Nix runs in for a touchdown, throws for another one. Javonte Williams could be a good play for those of you who have Javonte Williams in your lineups.
Don't leave him on the bench like I did last week.
Denver defense, fire them up wherever you have them. If you were able to grab them
Alex
and
said
hold
he
on
thinks
to
the
them.
Giants might be the number 1 pick in the draft this upcoming year. But I don't see how that's going to be possible because I don't see Carolina winning another game for the rest of the year.
They play each other in Germany. What a coincidence. They play each other in Germany. a game that I'm not going to wake up for. I'll catch it at halftime. It'll probably be, 6-3. And
well, I don't have anybody in that team.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about fantasy football.
Those poor people in Germany.
maybe Jonathan Brooks, if he ever comes off of, IR. What up, Serge? What's going on, bro? Send me Serge.
Man, dude.
Germany, Giants versus Panthers in 2 weeks. One of them has to lose, right?
So if the Giants lose from here to then, as a Giants fan, do you want them to win or do you want them to lose at Carolina?
I don't think
there's no clear-cut quarterback at this moment, and we're almost in the month of November, and I still don't see a guy besides Cam Ward to be the quarterback pick. So maybe, just maybe, the Giants, if they were to get number 1 overall, they could fleece somebody and trade back.
I don't think Giants fans want to openly be like, yeah, we're tanking. Or Giants fans aren't going to be like, we want to tank, because they're too proud. They want to be competitive, but they're not. They stink. They overpaid Jones, and they're going to lose a lot of football games.
I don't think you should lose to Carolina. I clearly believe you're better than Carolina.
Well, Danny Dimes won't be at home for that one, so that's good news for you guys. That's going to be an extensive breakdown that week. We're going to have to put aside some time for the Germany matchup because we have to pick a winner. I don't want to think about it right now. I can't decide. Too much going on. Much sooner than that matchup. So, we'll let that one slide for now.
Okay.
You got 49ers versus Cowboys. Cowboys are going to lose again.
As bad as the 49ers.
This is the 49ers get-right game every single year.
Yeah, I don't know how Dallas Cowboy fans can tolerate Jerry Jones at this point.
Do they, though?
That shit that he said the other day about...
He keeps making excuses for why they didn't sign Henry. Bro, stop talking about it. All right, it's over.
That's wild, bro. You didn't have $18 million to allocate to Derrick Henry. Then to say that, who's to say he would have the year he's having with us? I do.
Yeah, he would have been amazing with you guys.
Because at the end of the day, CeeDee Lamb is still going to command 2 people, so the box isn't going to be loaded with 8 people.
You would have had a run game, Dallas. When's the last time you didn't have a run game and were successful? I'll wait. You never. He continues to come out and talk about, and justify not signing Derrick Henry. And it's just stop it. We get it. You screwed up. Nobody cares.
This is the second week in a row you spewed something stupid, because a couple weeks ago it was
he's doing it on the weeks where Derrick
Henry. Don't I pay for you to be on this radio? I could get 2 other people to take over this.
Derrick Henry is lighting the world on fire, and it's followed up by Jerry Jones coming out and saying this is why we didn't sign him. Okay, we get it. You didn't sign him. Clearly you didn't sign him. And you know what's even crazier? Their defense allows everybody to run on them. So you didn't want a run game. You don't have a defense that can stop the run.
Derrick Henry on the Cowboys.
You have no other options besides CeeDee Lamb.
The Cowboys would not have the issues they have right now.
Freddie, what's going on,
Freddie,
bro?
I'm just saying, if Derrick Henry was there, I don't think the Cowboys would have the issues they have.
I told you.
I think the Cowboys would be in firm control of the NFC East right now. Do you agree with that?
Chris is numb to the bullshit. Firm control, I don't know. I think that
Steelers are bro, we lost to you because we lost. Oh, well. Who's got the better record right now?
I think that it would be a
Sit
more
your ass down.
Competitive division if the Cowboys were a more complete football team. I think that Washington they're gonna do what they've done to this point. Titans are trash, but I'm not trying to convince myself that we're good. Dallas is just not a good football team. There's a difference between us right now. I'm not delusional about it. I know what my team is. You're trying to figure it out. And what's crazy is this year, usually Dallas is regular season good, break down in the playoffs. This year, you're just breaking down during the regular season. You're not good right now. And if you don't get better, you're not even going to make it to the playoffs based on what I've seen. You have no other option besides CeeDee Lamb on offense. You are one-dimensional with Dak Prescott as your quarterback and a defense that can't stop anybody. Going up against the biggest skeleton in your closet right now, the San Francisco 49ers, a team that you can't beat. You can't beat them. You can't beat this team. They are the bully on the block, and they take your lunch money every year. So you're the worst version of yourselves going up against the football team that owns you.
if the Cowboys can win Sunday, it could turn their season around because, like, you get a monkey off your back.
With who? Who are they going to win with?
I know. I just said.
Who are they going to win with? There's no ifs.
I said if.
We're not. This is the problem. Everybody wants to play pretend ball. Like,
I said if.
The Dallas Cowboys have too many problems to fix in 1 week.
Ask me who's on my pool.
The 49ers.
Okay, I said if.
49ers are going to beat them. They're going to beat them up. We don't need Cooper Kupp.
No, you need safety play.
I did pick Dallas to win the division. I don't know about them winning it all. I had them winning the NFC
I did
East,
too at the last minute because I felt you swayed me in my prediction.
Like, guess what? I got it wrong. I might have got it wrong. This team is not going to be able to fix this in a week. And they're just not a good football team right now. And they are afraid of the 49ers. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's Sunday Night Football.
Give me the key to the game, Freddie, why you can win that game.
What's it going to take? How are you going to beat these guys? I read that too. Steelers are currently the front runners for Cooper Kupp. Terrell, he's out on the Cooper Kupp talks. He feels as though the Eagles are doing too much with the whole getting involved in that, which I can kind of agree with. I think it waters down their offense as a whole. I think it boosts Saquon Barkley.
Looks like the Eagles weren't getting that second-round pick if the Jets traded this guy.
It looks like, from what I'm reading,
Reddick-Stain,
the team is willing to take on Kupp's money on top of offering the second-round pick. So it looks like they have a couple of teams that they are negotiating with and having their, I guess, bidding war.
Yeah, the Steelers ain't giving a second-round pick for him.
My biggest thing is, Rams, why are you doing this? Like, what's the why behind this? Like, why are you trading this guy away? Jerry Jones look crazier every day. Maybe it's the Diddy case bothering.
Was he at the Diddy parties?
Like, he just needs to stop talking about Derrick Henry, bro. You missed out. You missed out on him. He would be amazing for you. He would be doing for you what he's doing for the Baltimore Ravens right now. And he's not, and you're not there. And your defense is bad too. So it's just, the old man just needs to stop circling the wagon on the conversation because, all this talking about him, you could have talked to him and tried to get a deal done with him. He wanted to be there, dog. He wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. It was in the bag for you guys, and you screwed the pooch. Now you have no running game. You just have a bunch of guys. It's week 8, and we're still talking about Rico Dowdle potentially having that breakout moment. Like, it ain't going to happen against the 49ers defense. I'll tell you that. If they trade Kupp, trade Stafford to the Giants. Another storyline that I was seeing this past week was the potential for Matthew Stafford to be a New York Giant next year. I mean, he's better than Daniel Jones. I don't know about saving them this season, but he could be their QB1 next season when they get themselves out of this hideous situation they put themselves in financially. I'll take old Matthew Stafford with a bad arm over Daniel Jones. Can't get right. Over 650 days of not
for anything on the.
Daniel Jones has gone 650 plus days not throwing a touchdown pass in his home field. Rams are selling again. They give up all their draft picks all the time and realizing maybe that's a bad idea. Well, it worked for them when they did it before. Now it's a case where those players that they cooped when they were doing all those trades are getting older. So now they're trying to move the players for picks and get themselves back in the running because the Rams know how to draft well. Like, that organization can draft. They will get their next guy. They'll find their next Cooper Kupp. They'll find their next running back after Kyron Williams and Corum and so on. Like, they are a machine. They know how to do this. And
they gave up all their draft picks, Terrell.
But
you know what they can say they did? They won a Super Bowl.
And they just saw their biggest rival, the San Francisco 49ers, pay a wide receiver who is now going to be out for the rest of the year. The Rams might not be wanting to make the same mistake that the 49ers made. And they might be trying to get ahead of the curve with it and saying to themselves, okay, maybe we punt on this season, but we know we'll be back next year doing it our way. You put Stafford back there, and we turn into a playoff team. All the other pieces are there for the most part. The Andrew Thomas thing sucks still, but the offensive line up until that injury was playing well. I'll give you that. Like, they were playing well, and now you're going up against a pass rush of the Pittsburgh Steelers that is for real. They're going to be tested, And
ask Aaron.
It's probably going to be a rough night for Daniel Jones.
Conspicuous by his absence is Julio today, because I remember 2 weeks ago talking about last time we were in Pittsburgh, we beat him.
Well, he no-showed. The Jets
Guess what Devontae Adams just did twice in a week? Lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Jets offense no-showed. The Jets do play the Dolphins this week. The returning Tua Tagovailoa. Oh, Jets Patriots again?
Yeah.
Jets. Oh yeah, you're right. Jets Patriots.
Dolphins Cardinals this week.
Jets Patriots, Dolphins Cardinals, which all of a sudden with Tua back in the fold looks like a great fantasy matchup because James Conner looked pretty damn good running the football. So there's a lot of different components to that matchup that has a lot of fantasy value to it. I'm excited for it. Fire up your Cardinals and Dolphins. If you're questionable about Marvin Harrison, I totally get it because there's times where that kid just looks lost in the sauce out there. Greg Dortch was the one that came through with a touchdown grab. Trey McBride was doing his thing. He is Kyler Murray's favorite target, and James Conner's moving the chains. Rodgers washed. Peyote done got him.
I've done said that already. When I said it, I was crazy.
Oh, man.
Felt good to beat him.
I bet it did. That's always been a thorn in your side, is Aaron Rodgers. I guess after the Super Bowl thing, you always had a thing against him.
Felt good.
I know.
Just to see his face. Because then he blamed the media for them losing. That I thought was awesome. I thought that was awesome. Last week it was Mike Williams' fault. This week it's the media's fault.
Careful how you talk about.
You got Devontae Adams talking about this team had no energy on the sideline.
Careful how
they're not used to winning, so how can they? I got to bring that juice to them.
Careful how you talk about them because Devontae Adams, and Garrett Wilson are Mikey's boys. Got that Hail Mary off. He did.
So felt good.
They lost that game.
24 unanswered points.
Man, my picks for the East are looking pretty rough right now. The Jets and the Cowboys are just.
I think the Dolphins weathered the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're alive again, baby.
They turn things around now and get back in the running, and
they'll be 4-4 soon enough.
From a fantasy perspective, I'm stoked. From a reality perspective, they got a lot of work to do. And they still have to prove they can go out there and beat a good team because they didn't do that last year. They got to do it this year with Tua back in the fold. You got to beat somebody. Not just anybody. You have to beat a somebody. And right now, I'm sorry, Cardinals are not a somebody yet. The Cardinals are still trying to find themselves, like a lot of football teams are. But it's a big matchup for both football teams. So maybe one of these football teams finds themselves in this matchup with these two guys.
Start your Dolphins players this week with Tua back.
Waddle's back to relevancy. A-Chain, I guess.
A-Chain becomes more dangerous. Raheem Mostert comes more dangerous.
I'm starting Jalen Waddle. I'm putting him in the flex spot. Because I want dibs on the Dolphins offense now that they're back. Now that the crew is back together, reunited, and it feels so good. Here comes Tua.
RJ, you still got your Rodgers Jets jersey?
Just put a freaking Guardian helmet on Tua and just have him go out there and be quarterback. Just protect him, all right?
He already said he's not wearing it.
Of course not, because he calls the shots. He's in charge until he gets popped again. And we got to watch that on live TV. Just give that man a Guardian helmet and step back.
So how many of you guys got your Dolphin players on your fantasy team? Are you going to be watching any of those games, like on the highlights? Just wondering. Because I remember a lot of y'all said y'all were going to watch the Dolphins at all this year now.
People said a lot of things. Because I remember the New York Yankees getting walked off by the Guardians and people talking about how no matter who your team is, you have to love playoff baseball. And some of those same people, after we won that series and the Dodgers won their series, were the same ones saying they're not going to watch the World Series as if it mattered. Who cares if you're not going to watch? Don't be a hypocrite. It's still great. Playoff baseball is still great just because it was the outcome that you didn't want. I'm just making a
personal choice and not watching it.
Well, that's good. That's personal.
Right now, I got bigger fish to fry.
Good for you. Proud of you. The rest of the world will be watching.
I got bigger fish to fry. I got a fantasy team to manage.
It's a heavyweight championship between two heavyweights.
And I got to keep defending Russell Wilson from the Justin Fields Mafias.
Justin Fields Mafias? What, they're upset that Justin Fields isn't getting the play.
In the first quarter, they were just like, throw Justin back in there. I told you Tomlin's an idiot.
Well, Russ shot a lot of people up that night. I know you were getting tagged a couple times, and
yeah, I did.
People were saying, "When's a good time to pull the plug on this and bring Fields back in?"
And then you see what I posted later on the Russell Wilson subway gif.
Paul said Tua needs a Spaceballs helmet. The Darth Vader. Oh my God! Just put him back. Just protect him, dog. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it looks. Just protect him. I watch anything pertaining to my fantasy success, just not during the Eagles game.
I'll tell you what Russ did.
It's hard when your favorite team's playing.
He read the defense. He knew where to put the ball.
Don't worry. I'll fill you in, old money. Don't worry. And next week, Game 5.
That's all right, Terrell. We got a matchup in December. I'll be waiting.
Next week, Game 5 falls on podcast night. So once again, it's going to be a live reaction show to what's going on during a playoff game.
I'm going to say
I lost my mind 2 weeks ago on this podcast watching everything play out.
Yeah, well, I didn't like Justin Fields' passing game.
I'm cheering for Ohtani. Hey, you're just like every other Philly fan that's cheering for Ohtani. Best wishes to you. It must take a lot of Yankee hating in your heart to be willing to root for the Dodgers in this situation.
All right, so listen.
I'll tell you that.
Do I expect the New York Yankees to win the World Series? I absolutely do.
Nothing's given,
and that's because
nothing's a given.
The Dodgers are just going to choke in the crucial moments. However,
it's going to be tough.
These boys are averaging almost 9 runs a game.
Yep.
Their bats are on fire right now. Yep. And New York's got to cool them bats off.
It's a murderer's row. The Dodgers are a murderer's row of hitters.
So
Max Muncy is out of his mind right now.
This is the Yankees' biggest test in the playoffs.
Shout out to the Dodgers, all right? Because there were a lot of things the Guardians were doing that was helping us to win along the way.
Yeah.
Dodgers are a different caliber team.
Their defense was bad.
When I look back on it,
swinging at pitches that were just crazy.
When I look back on it, the Royals might have overall been better than the Guardians, I feel like. Royals might have been the better baseball team. The hitting, you could say the Guardians had the advantage in that category, but when it came down to the pitching, they presented more of an issue to us.
He's the X factor. If Shohei Ohtani gets going, oh boy.
Shohei's my favorite player. You guys know that.
The gambler.
If one of you drafts him in fantasy baseball next year, I'm not going to know what to do because I'm used to always having him. And if he's not there, I might just shit the bed again. But to me, there's advantages, there's disadvantages. I just feel as though as a fan, I've waited 15 years. My team is in the World Series for the first time in 15 years. So the reality hasn't set in for me. Maybe tomorrow it'll start getting more real for me that we have a game the following day. But I'm just enjoying the interviews from both sides. I'm enjoying the history. I'm enjoying the comparisons, the conversations, the storylines of players on either side that some could have been Yankees, but they're Dodgers. Like the bidding war that we had going on for some of the same players. The series that we had earlier in the year where Soto was not there for, if you guys remember, Soto was out for a couple of games. And
the Yankees are the favorites in the series.
No, the Dodgers are.
Really?
Dodgers are the favorite. But it's like this.
Woo.
It's
Sixers
almost
getting mollywop.
It's almost neck and neck. It's the closest you could be while still being a favorite. I was doing some research on the matchup, and the Dodgers are the slight favorite. I think the Yankees are plus 105 dogs. But you got to think we're going to LA for the first two. So once we're in Yankee Stadium, let's say we come back to Yankee Stadium, it's a 1-1 series. You know, maybe the numbers change based on how the series is going. So it's a very slight thing, though. It's not wide at all. No. But we are technically, you know, according to Vegas, we are the dogs. So I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, my favorite team going up against the team that when I was getting done work late or I was getting done a podcast late, I was putting on the Dodgers game because I got a lot of fantasy players that are Dodgers. So, you know, I was rooting for them a lot of the time. So it's, you know, it's just a dream matchup, and baseball is absolutely loving the marketing.
Well, the Dodgers have the home field advantage.
Yes. It's going to be 2-3-2.
Thank God they do, too.
2-3-2.
Because I hate watching baseball in the cold. and it's going to be like in the 50s and that's
turtleneck Yankees have been doing damage.
It's like, come on, man.
Turtleneck Yankees have been doing
10 games to start. Here's another thing. Why the hell are we waiting 5 days for this series to start? This series should have started today.
I don't know about that.
Baseball trying to prolong this shit.
I don't remember how.
It's not fair to the ball players because you're going to get. Nobody wants to watch ball players playing in 45-degree weather. I don't.
When my team's in the championship, I don't care what the weather is. It doesn't matter to me. I'm still watching.
I want to see the ball travel.
Well, according to a lot of Phillies fans, none of them are watching anyway, so it doesn't matter what they want as far as the weather goes.
I don't want to see like 2-1, 3-4. Like, no. Play that shit in the warm weather.
I think the ball's got to travel, and we got to get to their
start. It's going to be tough to travel in cold air.
Well, we haven't had a problem with it. Have you seen Giancarlo Stanton lately? He's putting up numbers. Juan, so we're winning with the home run ball. So it ain't hard for the Yankees to do it, and it ain't hard for the Dodgers to do it, and that's why we've gotten this far.
Listen.
It's not going to be a cold week, though, so it's okay. Hey, listen, all I've been hearing since the beginning of the season, all the baseball know-it-alls were telling me, wait until hitting season. Well, guess what? It's hitting season. And you either got a dog in the fight or you don't. Pajama pants waiting for Friday night. Yeah. I got the Boone Yankee hoodie. I haven't put it on since that game, and I won't be putting it on up until Friday. I'll be at work watching the game, sweating it out. And there's no game on Sunday. They're not going to compete with the NFL. And then we've got game 3, 4, and 5, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So great time. This next week, we're getting like 40-something NBA games. We're getting the World Series starting out, a full slate of NFL action, and like 40-plus NHL games. Look who the genius. Look who it is. It was all the work last year, bro. You thought he really had rage problems? Now look at him. Now his problem is just figuring out how he's going to put his rotation together for the World Series. He ain't getting mad anymore.
You realize you're not getting rid of him now.
You can't.
Because I know that bothered you.
You can't get rid of him. And I'm okay with it because he did an amazing job getting us through the ALCS. Like, yeah, we beat them in 5 games, but it was a hard-fought 5 games. Like it was a chess match the whole time.
You were better than the Guardians, dog. Stop that.
We've always been better than the Guardians.
Yes.
But they challenged us.
I hate calling them that.
The Indians. Like, they
You were better than the Royals.
Yes.
Every team you play, you were better, and you won. You did what you were supposed to do.
We're better than the Phillies.
You are. You're in the World Series.
You know, we're going up against our equals.
What it is.
Like, we're going up against our equals right now with the Dodgers.
I got my GM
a team that can hit back.
There's not much he can add because of the money, which is a bold-faced lie because I just read
that's petty.
They plan on meeting with Juan Soto's representation as soon as the World Series is over.
Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
It's the worst-kept secret in baseball.
It's going to happen. You're going to talk to him. You're going to try. You're going to see what's out there.
Is Juan Soto going to go back to New York? Or because then that's a lot of money tied up on 3 players.
So, if we win a World Series, who cares?
I get it.
Like, so what? There's a lot of money tied into Mike Trout.
Yeah.
How's that working out? So, we'll tie the money into the right players and get ourselves back into this position for the foreseeable future.
I think the Phillies are going to be ridiculous about it, and they're going to offer him as much as he wants.
So are the Mets. The Mets are in on it. The Mets are going to be involved. The Chicago Cubs are going to be involved. Like, it's going to be a bidding war.
They're not trading Turner. You sound retarded, Terrell.
No trade clause. No trade clause.
No trade clause, and no one's picking up the contract.
Nobody wants. Yeah, it's nobody wants to pay him that.
Everybody's mad at him.
Nobody's going to pay him that.
Because of the playoffs and hitting wise. All your frustration is going to one player when it should go to the entire freaking lineup. Like, I'm tired of Trey Turner being the scapegoat of the Philadelphia Phillies problems.
He's defending him. So who are you mad at?
I'm mad at Bryce Harper. Okay. I'm mad at Bryson Stott. I'm mad at Alec Bohm.
There it is.
How about we take out all that anger you got towards Trey Turner to those guys, too, who get paid just as well? You know, all right, his contract is crazy. But none of you said shit when he got signed.
All right. You called him a Captain America.
You guys were all on the Trey Turner bandwagon. Now everybody says get rid of. Where's the anger towards Bryson Stott and his hitting ability? Where's the anger towards Nick Castellanos swinging halfway across the bag to hit a ball?
It's because his walk-off when you beat the Mets for that one game.
Bullshit!
He was the savior.
Bullshit!
Alec Bohm
This whole team has not hit since Game 5 of the NLCS.
Didn't think you'd get a Phillies rant today, did you? Keep preaching, brother.
So, if y'all going to be mad at Trey Turner, take that shit out on the cleanup hitter, the 5th hole hitter, the 6th hole, and the 7th hole, who all get paid pretty damn good.
Turner's contract and the no trade.
I have no problem. Listen.
It's disgusting.
In order to sign him, that's what it took. Because he was going to sign a contract of that status with whoever got him.
Went to the Phillies.
So, if we didn't sign Trey Turner, you were fine with, who was the guy at the time? Spanish dude. Segura. You were fine bringing Gene Segura back?
Gene Segura, dog.
Were you?
Gene Segura.
So every Philly fan, get your head out of your ass and stop putting all the blame on Trey Turner.
He deserves blame.
How about we talk about Topper and putting Hoffman in there 3 days in a row, and all three times he was struggling.
Getting roped.
Let's talk about
getting roped.
What about the great JT Realmuto?
Nobody wants
who
his
has
contract
not
either.
Hit, and he got signed to a big deal too at his age, but everybody said we had to do it.
Nobody but the Phillies are willing to pay these people that kind of money. That's why they can't move. Like, your GM is being candid with some of the comments.
Does Alec Bohm have to go? I do believe so.
Oh, he started crying again. I was like, dude, you suck, man. Like, you folded.
He does need to go.
Folded.
And he's about the only player you can actually get something in return for if you trade him.
Next time, Bohm, apply the tag.
I would rather start Edmundo Sosa as my everyday third baseman.
I still think about the ghost tag that he tried to put on the Mets player, where he just, and then he pulled his arms back. I was like, yo, what is this? And then he's looking around, like, you could see in his eyes, like, this.
That was Trey Turner's fault, though.
It's like, are you about to cry right now? Like, are you going to cry in the middle of this game? Bohm cries because he knows he's going to be gone. He cries because he stinks, and he knows it. And now he knows the world knows it, and Philly knows it, so they probably didn't make it easy for him. You know, they love this baseball team up until they choked.
Don't trade for Mike Trout. I am going to be fine.
Well, you can't afford to do something like that, according to the Phillies. But I know they're going to be in negotiations with Juan Soto to try to get him.
Absolutely.
So
listen, I mean, you put Juan Soto in the Phillies lineup, he makes your lineup instantly better.
He fixes a lot of problems.
Yes, a lot.
He fixes a lot of problems.
Because now you have to pick. You can't.
Because having him.
If you pitch around, if you put him to bat in front of Harper,
yeah.
Who are you going to pick? Are you going to walk both of them?
Batting Soto second is a lot more effective than having Trey Turner bat second. Because Trey Turner batting second is looking like an easy out these days. He has done nothing for the longest.
Listen, they need help, and I know it. However, I also know
from ringing the bell to they need help.
However, I also know they're still going to win 80 to 94 games a year next year. I also know they're going to be in the playoffs next. Like,
right.
I can't sit here and say they're a bad team because they're not. They just have some inconsistent piece. They're a streaky team. And they went into the playoffs without being streaky. The previous years where they were streaking on good, like they did damage.
Well,
Nick Castellanos 2 years ago, last year, blew his nut in the Braves game and only had one hit after that in the NLCS.
I must profess myself extremely disappointed because all season long I was hearing talks of how the Phillies were going to go to the World Series.
I'm disappointed.
Zach Wheeler's going to be the MVP. Oh, Yankees, you guys better be ready. You better make it out of your side because the Phillies are going to be blah, blah, blah. And I'm extremely disappointed. The matchup that we were all expecting, the showdown, is not going to happen because you guys screwed up your part of the deal. We showed up. We're here this week. Where are the Phillies? They're still trying to figure out who to blame. Still trying to cut the pie of blame and excuses and make sure everybody gets the proper portion.
And then on top of that, I get to hear this at work. Well, they had the top batting average. What did that matter in the playoffs? They brought back the entire coaching staff.
Trying to use analytics.
I'm cool with the pitching coach. I think the pitching coach has done a fine job with the starters, and he's done what he can with the bullpen help.
You know, it's not cool. The Phillies bullpen. Phillies bullpen is not cool. Estevez, bum. Hoffman, bum. Alvarado, bum. Soto, bum. So there's not one person that can come out of that Phillies bullpen and do anything when you need them to do it. So it really just, the computer strikes again. They're all bums. The bullpen is just there to make you think that they're going to be good at something. The Phillies have no closer.
I'm dead.
Estes, you brought him over from LA, and now you see why you should have kept him in LA, because he was out there with the Angels getting roped. So yeah, they are one of the biggest question marks, because they could undoubtedly be the biggest disappointment of the postseason is the Philadelphia Phillies, because of the unceremonious early exit to none other than the New York Mets.
What the hell happened to the Mets?
The Dodgers kept hitting the ball. You know, the Dodgers are a powerful force.
Do you think they could? Do you think the Padres would have done the same thing to them?
To the Mets?
Yeah.
Yes. Padres would have beat the Mets too.
That would have been a nice.
And I know that, you know, we could sit here and do the fantasy booking all we want. The Padres had the Dodgers up against the ropes. All they had to do was put them away. And the Dodgers didn't allow it to happen, because the Dodgers can match the firepower. It's not that the Mets don't have firepower, but it's just not on the same level.
Where's the Sixers
it's just not on the same level. When you go up and down the line, you look at the top four of the Dodgers and the top four of the Mets, like, it's just a disparity between the two. But, you know, salute to the Mets, because they started out the season 0-5. They were the drizzling shits, and the Mets basically took the spot that should have been the Phillies. It should have been Phillies Dodgers, if you guys hold up your end, and then you have the showdown on your side,
the way they played,
and the showdown on our side.
So I'm better.
Yes, the Dodgers.
So my heart can break again in the freaking NLCS.
The Dodgers would have whooped your ass. Ohtani would have been hitting bombs. And I think that the Philly fan base would be even more angry at some of these players.
The Philly starting rotation still good. Ranger Suarez should be completely healthy next year. They're going to bring up Andrew Painter, the rookie sensation. So I'm optimistic on the point where, hey, if you don't put Painter in the rotation, you can put Painter in the bullpen. Mikey, the Giants suck.
Oh man, Yankees in 7, because I feel like they're gonna stress me out to win this series. The Dodgers are gonna Kike Hernandez and guys like that are gonna stress me the hell out all week long. Like, what's gonna stress me is we have to be able to get to their starters. We can't because the difference is we actually have 5 starters that we can use and deploy in the World Series. Like, it's not usual to have 5 healthy starters. The Dodgers only have 3. They have Buehler, Flaherty, Yamamoto. We need to get to 2 out of 3 of those guys. We do that. We do what we've done so far on this run. We get to the bullpen early. We attack the bullpen, and we wear them down, just like we wore down the Guardians bullpen. But they wore our bullpen down too, which is why we started adding pitchers, this is the part where you're going to start seeing the insertions of Nestor Cortez, and you're going to see, like, if it's a game that we're losing, you're going to see Stroman out there just to eat up innings, and we aren't going to see some of the bullpen guys. You spare them. You don't see Tommy Kahnle out there, Luke Weaver, Clay Holmes.
Oh shit,
like,
the torture rack.
So it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. It's going to feel like a heavyweight fight. And hell, you know, if it goes 6 or 7, all we've been doing is celebrating on our enemy's backyards.
If y'all lose, it's because of his overconfidence.
Us Yankees sweep them now because I said 7. I mean, I think we can kick their ass. I really do. I think because the way we're hitting, I'm not afraid of anybody with the way that we've been hitting the ball. But I know, based off what I've seen, there's a good chance that the Dodgers make it tough. There's a good chance that they make it tough for us because of the fact that they
like
can
8
hit.
runs a game.
Yeah, Muncie's hitting. Teoscar's hitting. Ohtani's hitting. If Freeman is healthy right now, you know he wants to be there for his team. Why not? You're in the World Series. Like, everybody wants to be there. Guys are hurting. Freeman can put the ball in play and make things very difficult for us. Carlos Rodon, buddy, I love you. You came through for us the last week. You got to hold it together in
just
this
said
one.
that, watch him sweep now.
Literally saying 7 games.
Y'all ain't sweeping the Dodgers. This series should go to 7.
We shouldn't be able to sweep them. Can we beat them in 5 or 6? Yes. But it's going to be – they're not going to be an easy out. You know? Kansas City and Cleveland, we struggled in those games, and those teams made mistakes that we took advantage of. When you look at the history, Giancarlo Stanton, LA boy, Aaron Judge, they have like 19 home runs combined hitting out there. They love to hit out there. So it's going to be hitting season in LA for game 1 and 2 for sure. My fan's delusional. I say Yankees in 6, but I can see 7. I don't know, man. I can't call it. I just know the keys to victory. And I think that if we see the Dodgers starters going 6 or 7 innings, we're in trouble. If we don't get to the Dodgers starters, we're in trouble. We have to get to them. We have to get them out of the game. We got to get into their bullpen. We got to go see Evan Phillips. We got to take it to those guys. And we have to be the righty-lefty matchups. I think they only have one right-handed pitcher in their bullpen. All the other ones are lefties. So if we get their lefties out there and we get our lefties like Juan Soto getting used to seeing what their lefties bring to the table, the familiarity aspect is what's going to benefit us. We have to get familiar with this team so that we know what it takes to break them down and beat them. So game 1, game 2, Yankees, get familiar. The Phillies, get familiar with what your problems are. You have the whole offseason to look for somebody to blame. And then maybe next year, if we're able to make it back here, instead of seeing the blue Dodgers, we see the red Phillies. I'd like that.
That's football season.
It's football season. It's baseball season. It's basketball season.
It's baseball season.
It's all happening right now.
I'm all about football right now.
It's all happening. It's basketball season. It's just the Sixers are getting clobbered right now. So opening night, the real opening night when, the whole league plays. So we have that going on. It's going to be interesting to see on a nightly basis what happens now with the NBA back in the mix. Investigation pending on Joel Embiid for he's the new king of load management. Like Kawhi took the keys and handed them over to him. And now, what do you know? It's opening night and neither of them are ready to play. So we'll see what happens with that storyline. On the money picks?
Well, I got to make 10 picks because with the podcast being on postponement last week.
What I was going to do is I wasn't going to count last week since we had to cancel. I was going to keep our records from last week. I was going to keep our records from last week the way they are.
Oh, then that sounds good.
And go off of on the money picks for this week. So last week was an on the money picks bye week.
All right, so
my record is still 13-17.
I'm still 19-11.
Yeah, you're doing your thing with these picks.
I'm going to go Vikings tomorrow night over the Rams.
Vikings over the Rams, Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to go the Philadelphia Eagles over the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm taking the Tua Tagovailoa returning Dolphins over the Arizona Cardinals.
Dolphins over the Cardinals, okay.
I got the Buffalo Bills continuing their winning ways, going into Seattle and taking the dub. And I got Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears beating what's most likely going to be the Marcus Mariota-led Commanders. So that's Vikings, Eagles, Dolphins, Bills, Bears this week.
Vikings, Eagles, Dolphins, Bills, and Bears. Okay. All right. So, as I said, my record is 13-17. Sorry, I was just looking through. It's the fourth quarter of a lot of basketball games.
I don't like picking my team in the on-the-money picks.
Don't pick Pittsburgh.
But that doesn't mean I don't like our chances Monday, bud.
I told you before, start of the week, DJ Moore, fire him up. So that matches your one of your picks of Chicago Bears. This week, my first pick, we mentioned them earlier. Would I change my pick if Daniels plays? That's a big matchup for the NFC, man.
I think the Chicago Bears defense is better than the Commanders' defense. It's absolutely better than the Commanders' defense. I don't think the Commanders have faced a good enough defense yet. Like, I can't even call the Ravens a good defense because the Ravens gave up 27 points to them.
The Ravens and the Bucks.
The Ravens are giving up 30 points a game. I don't know if anybody knows that. The only reason you're not noticing it is because they're scoring 40 points a game.
That helps. Their offense is high powered, so they can go
So,
tit for tat.
yeah. I will say that I think the Chicago Bears should win this game because I think the Commanders' secondary is going to give up a lot of plays to whether it be DJ Moore, whether it be Keenan Allen or Cole Kmet. And I also think DeAndre Swift's going to have a hell of a game.
Yeah. It's interesting. Could be a big win for the Bears.
It could be.
And maybe pump the brakes a little bit on Washington, which I feel like a lot of the NFC
Washington
East
hasn't faced a real team yet. Let's be real.
They're 1-0 in the division,
Bengals, they did beat the Bengals, but the Bengals are playing a lot better now than they were a couple weeks ago. Bengals defense just sucks. Their offense can put points up too.
Commanders have the division lead as of right now and a division win. So it's going to come down to their matchups with the Eagles and the Cowboys. If you want to unseat them, you're going to have to go and do it yourself and prove that they are the frauds that you think they are. A loss to the Bears goes a long way, though, because the Bears need a win just as bad. They are actually 4-2 at the bottom of their division. And they can't afford to lose and fall behind the Vikings and the Packers and the Lions. Like, Lions beat the Packers. Lions beat the Vikings, so they put themselves a step ahead. You don't want to be the last place team in that division. You're still going to be a good team, but you're going to find yourself out of the mix. For my picks, I'm starting out with the Sunday night football game. We talked about it earlier. I've got the 49ers beating the Cowboys. History shows us that the Dallas Cowboys are the 49ers get-right team. And I think that if I had to bet between the 49ers and the Cowboys, as far as which one of them is going to get right first, I'm going with the 49ers. Their confidence level playing that football team is through the roof. The Cowboys are afraid of the 49ers, and Sunday night football, I think, is just going to be another L for them boys. And we'll see if Jerry Jones comes out and says some other shit about Derrick Henry and why he didn't sign him. For my second pick, I'm going to go opposite you, and I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles look good this past 2 weeks. It's because they played the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. Two teams that we have already identified have the potential to be in the bottom 5 as far as the worst teams in the league. So I'm not going to take too much from those two matchups and bring it into this week. This is a real challenge for the Eagles, and the Eagles are a real challenge for the Cincinnati Bengals because the Bengals secondary is allowing wide receivers to do whatever they want out there. So A.J. Brown, I think, is going to be he's going to have potential for another monster football game. But I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals in a narrow victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll say like a 27-23 or something. He even gave you a score for it. I think it's going to be a close matchup, a bit of a defensive struggle, and a duel between two quarterbacks to see which one can perform better in a high leverage situation where both teams kind of need a win. Number 3, I'm taking it to the AFC South. I've got the Houston Texans beating the Indianapolis Colts. I think Joe Mixon potentially has another good week. When they run the ball and they play defense, they win football games. So why not try to do that against a defense in the Colts that's going to let you run the ball and an offense that when Anthony Richardson is behind the helm.
Is JT back?
They're the 4th best run defense in football.
My man got paid and he's been hurt like all the time now.
The high ankle, he never recovered. The high ankle never recovered. Well, if all your parlays consist of your favorite team winning in those parlays, then I'm not going to tell your parlays either. I don't do this with feelings. So I've got the Texans over the Colts. Number 4, I'm taking the Buffalo Bills over the Seattle Seahawks. Bills offense got right on us this past week. Not having DK Metcalf there I don't know. There's a lot of weapons still in Seattle, but I think in a tit-for-tat type of matchup, I'll take the Buffalo offense that's finding their gear. James Cook coming back healthy. Keon Coleman potentially, Keon Coleman could potentially add on to the success that he had last week and show why he got drafted and that he is potentially the wide receiver 1 in Buffalo, because that's still something that's hard to identify. I'm taking the Bills over the Seahawks. And then at number 5, I'm getting ugly with it. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers over the New Orleans Saints. Not much to explain with that one. I just think that the Chargers are just – you got Spencer Rattler, who's going to make another start this week. So the Chargers defense could end up being the true play of the week. They're a good defense going up against a bad quarterback and a bad football team. I see no hope for the New Orleans Saints, so I just feel as though the Chargers are a safe bet. Once again, got 49ers, Bengals, Texans, Bills, Chargers to round out my on-the-money picks and hopefully get myself out of the basement of 13 and 17. And then Mike D sent the picks, which I have right here. Mike D is taking the New York Football Jets over the Patriots. Mike D is also taking the Cincinnati Bengals over the Philadelphia Eagles. He's got the Atlanta Falcons over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which after what I just saw, I feel like I would give Atlanta the edge in this matchup too, which would be 2 wins for them over Tampa, which is a big deal when it comes to that division. He's got the Falcons. He's also got the Buffalo Bills taking it to the Seahawks. And he's also got the San Francisco 49ers taking it to the Cowboys. So he and I both have 3 of the same picks. You went in a different direction with some of your picks. A lot of our fantasy teams are going in different directions with some of the injuries. Your boy is
lighting it up for me opening day.
Ooh, 53 from Sengun as the Rockets are up 6 on the Charlotte Hornets.
With a whole quarter of action ago. Dude, I might be looking at a 70-point night with him.
Wish I drafted him.
I seen him there and I was like,
go pick.
What the hell?
I have not checked Supreme Baller Society yet for the scores for my fantasy basketball team, but this is officially, the big opening night for that league. He's season 4.
I don't think
of
Hopkins
Supreme Baller
is going to be
Society.
fantasy relevant, guys. Don't put all your chips in it.
I
know a lot of people are.
I think he will
I think you're looking at 3 targets. Listen, what makes you think he's going to get fast overnight now?
I think he makes Juju Smith-Schuster
It's
irrelevant.
funny because the same people.
I think if you picked up Juju Smith-Schuster, it's time to drop him because the little bit that Hopkins gets is going to take away from, the others.
I think the people that it's funny because there was people not too long ago said that Hopkins was washed. Now all of a sudden it's, oh man, Mahomes got a weapon, rah, rah, rah. No.
Well,
it can't be either or.
People are hypocrites.
He's not as fast as he once was.
People forget what they say.
He's a contested catch guy that he's going to get red zone targets.
Yeah.
I hope nobody thinks he's going to turn into the Texans Hopkins because he's not.
He's a flex, guys. He's going to be a flex. You may not have to sweat out who your flex is going to be on a week-to-week basis. There are uglier options out there to start in the flex spot, So
Barkley, Hurts each for a touchdown, and Prescott to throw 2 picks.
Barkley, Hurts anytime touchdowns. That's the Paul Taylor lock of the week here on the Money podcast. 2 interceptions by Dak Prescott, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. Honestly, doesn't sound like a bad parlay at all. I kind of
write this down.
I kind of like it. Yeah, we might have to put that in the group chat and discuss it and look what the odds are because that right there is.
We're gonna get graphics made, and
you're gonna have to send a pic of yourself.
We gotta get a graphic made.
The Paul Taylor lock of the week.
Yes.
So just whatever picture you feel like sending, like wearing a suit or whatever. Like how they do on DraftKings, bro. Like, and then have it like you're leaned up against the words as if you could see the words yourself, but you can't. Just like lean up to the side. Paul Taylor's lock of the weeks. Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts for touchdowns, and Dakota Prescott to throw 2 picks, which he's more than capable of because the Cowboys are scared of the 49ers. Now, if you call me, it's only $9.99 for your premium parlays. $9.99 a month for the premium parlays. I'm trying my best not to look at my parlays right now because I got a few last minute sweats that I hope cash.
Next Wednesday we'll revisit. we'll revisit the Paul Taylor lock of the week.
Yeah, we'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. Do you want to do your NBA picks tonight, or do you want to wait a week?
We might as well wait a week. A week's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, like we don't have to. We go in and we give you the analysis and gives us the time to watch some basketball, because we really haven't been dialed into basketball the way we have other sports. It's just the reality of the situation. Now, with Supreme Baller Society back, with the prop betting back in the fold,
Bobby
games every
Portis
night,
is just single-handedly destroying the Sixers. Look at the face.
He's got that look. The Sixers are getting destroyed because Embiid can't play opening night, can't do back-to-backs, can't do opening night. So we'll have more on the investigation as to what's wrong with him.
My knees!
Same time, same place, not to mention a live watch-along of Game 5 of the World Series next week on this podcast. So until then, folks, another great night. Thank you guys for the feedback. Another entertaining night of sports talk. Hope you guys have a great night, a great week going into the weekend. And good luck on your parlays.